Hi lads, this is another episode of the Blunder Run, and if you want to check more of these, there are a bunch on my Patreon. We have a Caro Kann, and I'm playing from 300 all the way up to 2000 on this series, and this game we're playing against a 788 from Uzbekistan. So you put both the pawns in the center, and the Caro Kann, c6, d5. Okay, and this is called the exchange Caro Kann, where they take your pawn and you take theirs. So there's an exchange of pawns. And now all we need to do in the game is get our pieces onto good squares. In the exchange Caro Kann, you just want to put pieces on good squares. So this knight is coming to c6. This knight is coming to f6. The bishop often comes to e7 or d6. You kind of can choose between the two. And this bishop comes to either f5 or g4. Preferably g4, preferably d6 here. Those are the ideal squares. And then basically you close off your pawn chain and you push these two pawns up the board. There are 3 pawns here and we have 2. So this is called a minority attack. We attack with less pieces than our opponent. 2 pawns against 3, and we're going to create a backwards pawn if we do it correctly. So you'll see how this goes. So they've brought their queen out. You should never bring your queen out early. I'm going to develop my knight to f6 and put my bishop on g4. And the reason you don't bring your queen out early is because this move is now kind of like a free move. The pawn here is already defended twice. And so I get this move in, and they're forced to move their queen again when they could actually be developing one of their minor pieces. So everything's good here. We're going to just close off the pawn chain because now the bishop's on the outside of it. They've come here trying to pin this knight to the queen. And if I'm not thinking, I'd just play the move bishop e7. And this would be a big blunder because they can take my knight, I take back, and then they win the bishop on g5. So I have to be very careful here. I need to move my bishop. So probably just going to pull it back to the h5 square. And then we'll put it on g6 if it gets attacked again, if the queen moves here to attack it or something like that. Okay, here they've attacked, and so we're just going to recapture with queen. Ideally, I would have liked to recapture with bishop, but now they don't have a dark squared bishop. I think I can put my bishop on the d6 square, hopefully, at some point. Not yet, because the queen's looking at d6, and I would just hang the piece. But ideally, I would like to put it on this square, because it looks down this diagonal. Okay, here they've brought a bishop here. They're attacking my bishop. Do I want to exchange? If I do, it lets them develop a knight and then they can get castled. So I would rather make them waste time developing their knight, and I'll try to keep up with the development myself. Generally, the rule in chess is to take is a mistake, and you don't want to take pieces if it allows your opponent to develop. So we're not going to do that. Our opponent's jumping in here with the queen. Looks a little aggressive, but they are hitting this pawn. And I think I'm going to have to try to defend it. If I just move the knight here, they take the pawn and fork the 2 pieces. So that would be a big blunder. Let's go queen e7. And if they take us, then we can simply capture back with the bishop. Our bishop will be developed. And now we have one last piece to get developed and to castle here. So I think we're going to be looking okay here. My opponent has castled long, which is very strange. I'm going to throw a knight into the center. And now that queens are off, I might not even need to castle. I might just put my king on d7. That's one way of connecting the rooks. The other would be just to castle short. I'm definitely not castling long here. It just doesn't look right. So maybe just king d7 looks kind of interesting. I think I'm pretty well protected here, and I have the bishop pair. So I should be feeling pretty comfortable. Okay, he's jumped in. He's looking at this fork. I think king d7 makes a lot more sense now because it stops both of the squares that the knight can jump to. So this is looking pretty good. And you often want to get your rook lined up against the king, because then there can often be tactics. Like if a piece is on this square or this square, you know, it wouldn't be defended by this pawn because the pawn would be pinned, meaning it can't move away because it would be moving into check. Okay, here I really think this move is going to be good because it creates 2 isolated pawns on the edge of the board. But I also have the bishop pair, so maybe it's not a good idea to exchange bishops. I think instead what I'm going to do is just play the move a6, and that means that the knight can't jump anywhere. And I kind of like that, you know, just playing against his piece, making sure it's a very weak piece. Let's get my rook into the game, lined up against the king. And now he's moved there. I'm really thinking this looks like a good move now, because when he takes here, this is going to be a backwards pawn. So yes, I'm going to give up my bishop pair, but I think it's for a good reason. My pieces just look very active. I'm attacking this pawn now. My knight can jump to this c4 square and hit the a3 pawn. Yes, he can trade off, but I'm not too worried. And my bishop looks so powerful. Like, what a nice placed bishop. I'm feeling very good here. If he doesn't do anything major, I'm probably just going to double the rooks first and look at this pawn. He can't push it because, again, we're going to take. And he's just jumped in here with a check. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. Taking this bishop off is probably a good move by him. I think I'll just advance the king. He can't take here because we're defending, and he can take here. I kind of hope he doesn't. But I didn't actually see that that was a fork on my two pieces. I probably would have tried to move. Okay, so I am still able to keep the bishop. But what's better, I think looking for checks is always a good idea. So we have a free check here. And these two pieces are both on a dark square, so you do need to be careful about a fork, you know, a knight jumping in and doing some damage. But he doesn't have a knight that can get to this square or this square currently, so we're okay. I think we'll just double the rooks. Or will we play this move? Yeah, of course. So this is a check, hitting the king, hitting the bishop. So because he never took this bishop, it's still super powerful. And I didn't quite see that that was a move available to us at the time. But this looks very good for us now. Now we should be completely winning. Yeah, we're just going to take that bishop. His king has to go back to one of these two squares. And if he goes to this one, we take it actually with check. Because the bishop will hit the king. So he has to go into the corner. It's really his only move. And if he goes into the corner, is there any way to do anything? Okay, he didn't. So this is just a discover check. We can actually move the rook anywhere, and we will, you know, it'll be a check. So this looks like the best square just to take the bishop with check. If there was a rook, like I could capture, like, you know, and move and capture a rook, even if it was defended, I would have done that. And then here, I think this looks like checkmate. It's checkmate in two. He can only block here. The rook covers, bishop covers, and this rook cuts. So we can just pre-move. Checkmate here with the rook captures c4. Happy days. That was a pretty nice game. I hope you lads enjoyed it. I'll just upload this to YouTube right after we check the game review. Let's see how we did. 79.7, opponent with a 60.8. I did have a couple inaccuracies, a mistake and a miss. So let's just have a quick look through here. Some of the moments in the game where we made some inaccuracies. The engine might be saying, like, you know, it's not with a little star, it's not the best move, but like in the exchange, Caro Kann, often just like every move you make in the opening, there's not much order to it. You can just put pieces on good squares. Okay, it wanted me to capture this way. Okay, apparently capturing here and allowing him to capture this way was good. Don't quite understand that. Okay, so I suppose he didn't have to come back here. He could have checked. I would have had to defend, and then I may have been in a bit of trouble here. Yeah, I have to defend with every... I mean, I'm just losing these pawns. So why did this all happen? Because I moved my bishop back. I didn't realize how powerful this was, and apparently this is the move I should have gone for, and then just go here. He takes here, I take here. This would have been totally fine. But, yeah, coming back with the queen was not correct. It did feel a little weird, but I didn't really see another way to defend the b7 pawn. But actually, I didn't really need to defend. I can let him take, and I win this one. So sometimes you can just give a pawn, and you can get a couple pawns. Like this one's also under attack. So we'd be winning 2 pawns here. He wins 2 pawns here. So it's not a big deal. I probably should have done that instead of taking a piece that was developed and taking it to a less developed square. So that was probably a mistake by me. But then after this, we were totally fine after we exchanged pieces. Okay, it didn't like king here. Apparently, I'm missing something here. So knight here. And yeah, I don't understand why this is the worst move, but whatever. It wasn't losing. And we just got a really nice position here. And checkmate in one. He has to block with a knight, and we capture. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll see you all very soon, but do check out the Patreon. There's a lot more of these kinds of games on there that hopefully you can learn a little education. But yeah, some of them might be more helpful than this one. I don't know. Bye for now.